In the latest episode of The Curse of Oak Island Season 12, the Legina brothers discovered evidence that might finally prove there is a Viking connection to Oak Island. They discovered evidence that might have left their mark on the island, suggesting that Vikings, who supposedly appeared in a region nearby, might have actually left their mark on this island. In Newfoundland, Canada, Marty Legina and his team searched over 600 miles to find Lansos Meadows, the only confirmed Viking settlement in North America. This site, discovered in 1960 by Norwegian explorer Helge Ingstad and his archaeologist wife Anne Stein Ingstad, is proof that the Norse were on this side of the Atlantic around the year 1000, long before Columbus supposedly discovered the New World. Spanning 31 square miles, Lansos Meadows has revealed 8 structures, including what seems to be a forge. The settlement has yielded over 800 artifacts so far, from everyday tools to remnants of ancient Norse craftsmanship. According to sagas, the Old Norse tales came from Greenland, and they were there to explore this new territory for resources. Marty and his team, along with archaeologist Laird Niven and metallurgist Emma Culligan, explored further into this Viking mystery, believing that the Vikings might have made it even further south, possibly to Oak Island. During their travels across Europe, the team uncovered clues that suggested Norse descendants may have worked with the Knights Templar, the legendary protectors of priceless religious treasures. At several locations, they found symbols and artifacts strikingly similar to those uncovered on Oak Island over the past 2 centuries. Back at Lansos Meadows, experts like Loretta Decker from Parks Canada suggest that the settlement was more like a base camp for resource extraction and regrouping, comparing it to setting up camp on the moon. The sagas mention a summer settlement called Hop, south of Newfoundland, which could be in Nova Scotia or even on Oak Island. This is not far from the truth, as butternut seeds were discovered nearby in the Lansos Meadows region, suggesting that the Vikings went much further south than Newfoundland. The nearest place they could have come from is the Nova Scotia-New Brunswick area, suggesting they were on the move. If the Vikings made it to Nova Scotia, it is possible they reached Oak Island. The connections between the Vikings and the Pope are too strong to ignore. The traditional narrative about European arrival in North America is disrupted by the idea that Vikings could have explored and possibly influenced regions like Oak Island. Additionally, the ongoing mystery of Oak Island itself remains incomplete. Marty suggests that if the Vikings traveled as far south as Nova Scotia, there is every reason to believe they could have reached Oak Island. If they were moving down the Atlantic coast, stopping at places rich in resources, Oak Island might have been a perfect spot for a pit stop or more significant settlement. The question is not just whether they visited, but what they might have left behind. Doug introduces a fascinating tidbit that changes the whole narrative. The sagas mention Norse interactions with the Pope. The Norse were known to interact with European powers, and the Catholic Church, with its influence and reach, often played a central role in exploration and land claims. If the Pope and the Norse had a connection, it is not unreasonable to think the Vikings could have been part of a larger operation involving the Knights Templar. On Oak Island, traces of European activity dating back to the 13th century make the timeline more cohesive. Many of the sagas and records from this time are tied to the Catholic Church, which was not just a spiritual power, but also deeply political, and had a vested interest in expanding its influence westward. If the Norse were working under or alongside the Church, their travels to places like Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, or even Oak Island could have been part of a larger plan. The team at Lansos Meadows is exploring the possibility of connecting medieval Vikings to Oak Island, a North American mystery. They met Ragnar, a blacksmith trained in Viking-era techniques, who provided technical expertise on tools and materials from the Vikings. Oak Island, located off the southern coast of Nova Scotia, has been a site for one of history's most enduring mysteries. A recent discovery by a treasure hunting team has sparked new theories, clues that could point to the treasure or perhaps reveal an even greater secret hidden beneath the surface. Samuel Ball, born in 1761 on a rice plantation near Charleston, South Carolina, faced unimaginable hardships during his life. In 1776, General Sir Henry Clinton issued a proclamation promising freedom to enslaved individuals who escaped rebel owners and joined the British. Samuel Ball was one of 50 enslaved people who seized this chance, leaving the Ball plantation behind to cross into British lines. After serving in South Carolina with the British Army, Samuel Ball found himself heading north to New York, where he joined the Loyal Refugee Volunteers, a unit known for daring raids and bold moves. During wartime, Samuel learned survival tactics and picked up skills that would later help him navigate the tricky world of money and business. Despite early British victories, the war took a sharp turn in 1781, pushing Samuel Ball, along with countless others loyal to Britain, to make a life-changing decision. He fled to British-occupied Canada, where the Crown had promised freedom, goods, and land to enslaved black individuals in exchange for their loyalty. This led to a wave of migration, with nearly 5,000 black loyalists arriving in Nova Scotia, forming 52 historic black communities. The Oak Island crew, known for hiding real treasures, has been a fascinating story for over 2 centuries. The discovery of an old log structure at Smith's Cove in 1795 sparked interest in the island and its potential for hidden riches. The mania began when explorer Daniel McGinnis discovered a circular indentation while exploring his island home in Nova Scotia. The tales surrounding the island are diverse, with some linking it to the golden age of piracy, suggesting that infamous pirates like Captain Kidd or Blackbeard might have hidden their treasures there. McGinnis and his team found signs of human activity, such as coconut fiber, which suggests the pit was deliberately constructed by someone who brought materials from afar. Other theories include connections to the Knights Templar, imagining that the treasure might relate to this once powerful and strange group that disappeared centuries ago. There is also speculation about historical figures like Queen Marie Antoinette, who was executed before she could flee, leaving the treasure unfound. As treasure hunters dug deeper into Oak Island, they started thinking about the possibility that the treasure could have once belonged to William Shakespeare. Many believe that Shakespeare, famous for plays like King Lear and Hamlet, might have made so much money from his writing that he needed a private place to hide it. There were also whispers that Shakespeare might have hidden some of his never-before-seen writings with the treasure. If these rumors turned out to be true, finding the treasure could mean discovering not just valuable coins and jewelry, but also potentially priceless manuscripts from one of the greatest writers in history. Despite their best efforts, the team led by McGinnis faced significant challenges, such as a lack of proper tools and not enough workers to explore the deep pit thoroughly. Disheartened, they eventually had to stop their search without finding the treasure. If they had been able to keep digging, perhaps they might have found more clues that would have attracted even more treasure hunters to Oak Island. Over the next 229 years, many followed in McGinnis's footsteps, hoping to uncover the treasure, but all failed to bring it into the light. Old finds around the area help confirm that people were there, doing significant work, possibly related to the swamp. Discoveries like old survey stakes around the area help piece together what might have been happening on the island back then. Even though no one has yet managed to claim the treasure, many other fascinating and ancient items have been found, indicating that some unusual activities involving valuable items might have taken place on the island. One intriguing find was an ancient Roman sword, which some speculate that rulers like Julius Caesar or other Roman leaders chose Oak Island as a secure place to hide part of the empire's enormous wealth during its most powerful days. Another possibility is that the Knights Templar had visited the island long ago, looking for a safe place to keep their growing wealth. The Knights Templar were a powerful group of medieval Christian warriors who became wealthy and influential over time, with the backing of many important Christians, including Pope Innocent II, which helped them amass a considerable fortune. Oak Island, a mysterious island in the Americas, has been the subject of numerous discoveries and stories that could potentially change our understanding of history. The idea that the Roman Empire or the Knights Templar had connections to the island challenges the widely accepted story that Christopher Columbus and his group were the first from Europe to set foot in the Americas. Discoveries like the Roman sword and the lead cross are crucial clues that could significantly change historical narratives. However, Until the treasure is discovered and its origins confirmed, it remains uncertain whether these artifacts belong to the ancient Romans or the Knights Templar. Finding a cross suggests there might be multiple treasures on Oak Island, possibly left by different people throughout history.